All right, hockey fans, here we go. Tampa, Toronto, Game 6 in Tampa. What a beautiful thing. I do not know if we can expect a game anything like what last night's classic with my Panthers and Bruins was. But I hope we get a good game. Let's get some overtime. How about 5-2 in overtime for Tampa? How about that? You like that? Just seeing if you're paying attention, especially if you're a Panther fan. Today, for the most part, my brain today has consisted of, that's about where my head is. I'm spinning, I'm reeling, I'm excited, I'm anxious, I'm all of the things waiting for tomorrow. But before we get to tomorrow, before we get to Game 7 in Toronto, before we get to Panthers Lightning starting next week, we've got to get through this game here in Game 6. Now, Leaf fans, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I've been rooting for Tampa. I just go by history. And if you go by history, all of the history says, we know what it says. Now, in terms of on the ice, Vasilevsky was not great. And then there was all this chitter-chatter noise about, well, he hasn't looked this and he hasn't looked that. And then the one, forget who it was, came out about his tendencies. There was a lot of chitter-chatter about him. And they gave up the first goal the other night, which wasn't great. That was basically it. I know Toronto got another one, but look, if Vasilevsky decides, unless he's playing my Panthers, but if Vasilevsky decides in this series that that's it, no more, in the past, that's been enough for Tampa to pull things out. Going to be interesting to see because a little bit of this series is kind of like Panthers and Bruins. The Leafs are the older, more experienced team. The Bruins are the more, older, experienced team. Panthers are younger, hungrier. I got to believe that the Leafs are younger and hungrier, but the pressure of the President's Trophy for Boston and the pressure of the streak of just not being able to eliminate teams over and over and over again for the Leafs is gotta be weighing heavy. Now, this to me is their opportunity. This game here is the opportunity for the Leafs because they're not at home. I think if they lose this game, then they will have lost 2 in a row. The pressure of playing, in Toronto might just be too much for them. So far, it has been in terms of over the course of the last decade or decades. So, all right, let's go with a real prediction since 5-2 in overtime is not likely. We'll just call it 3-2 in overtime. I am looking at maybe these teams are just going to play like locked down tight defensively as much as they possibly can. They may have saw what going on in the third period of my game last night, so we don't want none of that. So 3-2 Lightning in overtime, and then Game 7 might get away from Toronto. We'll see. All right, guys. Almost as good as last night. All right, let's have it as almost as good as last night game. Of course, there's no stress, no pressure for me, so I just want to have some fun. All right, so no score after one. Not a whole lot to report. To be honest with you, Toronto had a couple power plays. Tampa killed it off. Toronto moved the puck around pretty decent. Vasilevsky's made some nice saves. Samsonov's made some nice saves. Looks like both teams are very calm. I wouldn't call them tentative, and I wouldn't call them tight. Just kind of what I said earlier about how they might just play like a little bit of a lockdown type of style, be a low-scoring game. That's what we've got so far. Yeah, both. This is going to be that's. Sometimes that's the hardest kind of game to be a fan of the team because a game like this, it's gonna be dependent upon some screwed up bounce, right? Like you take the shot and the rebound goes off with the goalie and it hits one of your players in the arm and then it goes off of the other guy's ass in front and it bounces off of the goaltender's mask and into the net and then you win the series or lose the series because of some crap like that. So move on to second period. Hopefully it gets a little bit more exciting. So we finally got a goal. It's 1-0 Toronto after 2. Now I know, on one hand, you could say Toronto is one period away. But everybody who thinks Tampa Bay is not, at very least, going to tie this game, raise your hand. Right. Tampa's had their power play chances. They have not been able to put one past Samsonov. Both teams are blocking a lot of shots. It is 2000s hockey, okay? Not a whole hell of a lot of action going on. Both goaltenders have made the saves that they've had to make, but Austin Matthews buries one past Vasilevsky. It's 1-0. Now, what did I say at the beginning of the game? I think I said 3-2 in overtime. So that's entirely extraordinarily possible at this point. I have zero confidence that Toronto's going to hold this lead. But Tampa has not looked all that good, especially on offense. They just look a little bit off. So maybe they're feeling a little bit of pressure. I go figure either way. We're going to move on to the third period. I have a feeling we're going to be moving on to the "We Are Going to Overtime" song right after that.
We are going to overtime!
Yep. I think we all saw that coming after about the first 5 minutes of this game. 1-1. We are going to overtime. Matthews, Stamkos. Those are the only two guys who could score the whole game. Back and forth, back and forth. Good saves. So many block shots. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention, I don't understand how the referee's watching and Hagel just gets smacked in the face with the stick and he just ignores it. I mean, there's there's judgment calls and everything that you can and cannot call. But how do you just watch a guy get whacked in the face and not call it? I mean, that win or lose and all that, however it's going to affect the game set aside, that's the one thing, if you're new to this channel, I harp on that a lot. We need these referees to be accountable. We need them to be able to, and it should be the players, the coaches, and the referees having post-game comments, and it have to be in front of the media, because at the very least, we should have the right to ask them the questions. You're looking right at the play. What? Did you think it didn't hit his face? Are you going to claim that you didn't see it? We should have the right to at least ask the referees what's going on. Other than that, we might be here a while. There hasn't been a lot of grade A chances. This has been some good chances, some nice saves, but nothing, nobody's had 2 or 3 minutes worth of zone time and oh my God, they had 5 shots and it didn't go in. It's just a lot of playoff hockey. That's what it is. All right, I said 3-2 Tampa in overtime. I guess we're going to have to go with 2-1 Tampa in overtime. I had a feeling this would be a low-score type game. It's what we've got. In the interest of the fact that we have the Panthers tomorrow night, could we keep this at 8 or 9 minutes into overtime? Just enough overtime to be fun, and then Tampa puts it away. Let's go with Killorn with the game winner. Well, congratulations, Toronto. Unbelievable. Although I believe it, because talked about it earlier in the recap, how when it gets to be this kind of game, it's going to be some crazy kind of stupid goal. John Tavares hits, it wasn't even on purpose. It goes off Radish's skate. Tavares takes the shot. It was not going in. It was just going in front, right through the crease. It was not going in. It hits Radish's skate. And that is how it ends for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and how the streak from hell ends for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Congratulations. Obviously, I saw everybody. They're excited. They're happy. That's a giant monkey off their back, which is okay. Look, when my Panthers are done beating the Bruins tomorrow, it'll be Panthers and Leafs. And last time, a team like Toronto ended their winless streak in the playoffs. They immediately got swept. I'm not thinking the Panthers are going to sweep the Leafs. Don't get me there. All right, so it's just not the overtime. Tampa Bay pretty much dominated. You can tell that they came out with the attitude of, this is our barn. We're not done. We're going to take it to them. And Samsonov had to make a couple of nice saves. And the Tampa Bay passes all night long were just a little bit off. Just a little bit off. Not by too much, just enough that you could notice. They had more than one time where they were coming down the ice and you thought they had something working, and then the passes just weren't working. But you got to give Toronto, you got to give the Maple Leafs credit. They tightened up their defense, and they came close to blowing it, but they didn't. They did. It's always John Tavares. I mean, as a Panther fan, I can tell you, it's always John Tavares. So now Lightning fans, you and us Panther fans now have something in common, don't we? John Tavares in overtime. Yes, that is one more thing that we have in common now. Damn. It was a good game. It's a good game. I kind of figured it'd be low scoring. I have a feeling you'll see something similar tomorrow in Boston with my Panthers. So, congratulations again to Toronto, obviously. Sorry about that for the Lightning fans. But look, Toronto fans have waited a long time. You waited a long time. I'm curious, Leaf fans, who would you rather play? The Panthers or the Bruins? You know, I kind of figure if you get the Bruins, you're going to think, they almost lost to the Panthers, we can beat them. And if you get the Panthers, you're going to think, holy crap, they beat the Bruins. That's just my take, but I could be wrong. Let me know. Otherwise, look, the only bad part for this for me is if it would give Toronto that extra night off. One other thing I was thinking about, because somebody asked me why I wanted the Panthers to play Tampa as opposed to Toronto. I'm looking at things from the POV of moving on and winning that round, right? So my thought for the Panthers was, if it's a lot, the travel's a lot easier just Tampa than it is with Toronto, but it is what it is. So Toronto, enjoy your night. Don't do anything stupid now, okay? Don't get too drunk. Don't, just stand on the cars and shake the cars. Don't tip them over or burn them up or something. Just shake them a little bit. That's okay. All right. There's going to be some headaches tomorrow morning in Toronto. You guys have earned it. All right. That was us last year. Okay. No doubt, no lie. Toronto fans have earned it. And for the Lightning, look, everything that goes up must come down. I thought you guys were going to pull this off, but Toronto learned from their mistakes of the past. They've tightened up their defense. It's a lot more structured. They're not just freewheeling, running and gunning, and they had a hell of a good season, and now they're moving on to the second round, and I'm curious what their expectations are, so all right. Congratulations, and now I will be able to take the hat off, and we'll go back to normal around here. Second round is most likely going to be my Panthers versus the Leafs, so I'm not concerned about who I'm going to root for there. The Rangers look like they might be beating the Devils tonight, so that looks like it's going to go to Game 7. And then tomorrow's at 6:30. Stream will start at 6 o'clock. Ain't going to be any other games going on during that period of time. I expect a nice crowd. We are going to have snacks. We're going to serve desserts. We're going to have all sorts of things for us, not for you guys, because obviously you're not invited. You're invited to watch, but can't come to the house because, you don't know where I live. All right. Congratulations, Toronto, one more time. Great series. Really, really. I wanted a Game 7. I'm enjoying the Game 7s, but for the health of Steve Dangle, I'm sure that this was the best way for them to pull this off. Not sure if they would have been able to come back from losing this game and then having to go home for Game 7 where all the demons have been exorcised. All right. Appreciate all the new subscribers, all the new watchers, leaving comments. Make sure you hit the like button. Let me see. There won't be any content out tomorrow until we go live at 6 o'clock. Panthers Bruins Game 7. Be ready. I got to get my voice back, but I'll be ready.